Hi, everyone. This is Tamara Duncan with AutismCollective.Love with EpiphanyHealingArts.com. And I'm here and I have Mr. Cookie and Miss Lacey Lou next to me, my little dog friends and master healers also. And so once again, we're doing this at 5 o'clock Pacific time, which is the time where my doggies are like high alert. So please forgive any extra sounds, barks. Cookie's got this high alert face right now. He's my schnauzer. That means that he is listening and not to me. Anything else that he might get to bark at. So if you can forgive me for any of that, that would be wonderful. So we're live streaming. We missed last week because I had a massive throbbing headache. Today has been a tiring day. However, I still feel good. So you may have noticed anything that maybe you've experienced that has to do with energy, whether you've had an energy healing session or even your own meditation. It seems to be dependent upon the success of it or the ability to connect or tune in or clear the mind. Is very specific to maybe how you feel. So, for example, doing an energy healing session, if I'm sick, even though I'm not actually in front of the person, maybe I'm doing a distant healing, which is 99.9% of all my client sessions are distant. I still don't do that session, even if I feel like I could do it, because it's really important for the quality of connection for you to be in a good space. And sometimes that takes a while. You'll see certain healers like kind of drop off the face of the earth for a while because they need to recharge, reset, rejuvenate themselves. So if you forgive me, sometimes these live streams, my intention is to do every Friday, but if something happens, it's usually and I don't, it's usually because I'm not in the space to be able to do that. I could definitely talk to you, but we're not just doing talking here as far as like me just telling you stuff. We're going to be tuning in to the Autism Collective. And that's a whole next level thing. I need to be able to be grounded and be in my body and also be able to reach out into the dimensional space where the kids are accessible to me. So let's get started. So today we're going to see what messages come forth. I've got a few little notes that just came through from a couple of our healers. Not a lot, not a big script or anything like that. So let's just see what they have to say on an impromptu level. So let's all today, first we want to set the field of energy. And so let's just take a couple deep breaths together, inhaling in. And I like to do a few like, so it's like, oh, I sat in some traffic today. I drove to my favorite vegan place. So I have a little to let out. It's like clearing. So clear with me. What do you got going on? Could you use some nice deep exhales? Letting go is so powerful. 2 more of those big letting go breaths. And one more. Lacey Lou. This is Lacey Lou. Lacey Lou, say hello. She's not going to do it. She's just going to lick my hand. She is my found me dog. Okay, we don't have to lick my hand. Oh, we do. Okay. We're setting the field, Missy. So can you help a girl out? All right. So, yeah, I like your slobber, but so setting the field. So imagine that we're all in this beautiful, and this is whoever's watching now and whoever is watching later in the recording. We're all in a field of energy, and you can imagine it like a field of flowers. Or I like to imagine it like this sort of like field, like a matrix, like a bubble or cloud, like a round orb, this big one, and we're all connected in there. Sorry for the moving of the camera. It's the laptop, and Lacey Lou is rubbing against it. And so imagine us all in there together. And now let's do some clearing energy. So let's clear anything that shouldn't be in there. So we don't want to bring with us any non-benevolent energies, any energies that are not of our highest good, that are not of the light, fully of the light, that are not supportive of our work today. Anything that might want to manipulate or throw shenanigans in there. So we want to just clear. So you can imagine, I have this thing. This is a little hack I've got. So I've got this thing. Think of it like an Etch-a-Sketch, but it's like for writing. And so I can write something on here, and then I turn it around and I just go like this, and then it disappears. So this is kind of a new thing that I've been imagining in my sort of clearing work. So I imagine that there's little lines of things that are not supposed to be there. And I imagine taking my little eraser. And as I do that, they dissolve. And you can imagine that dissolving into the light, dissolving into maybe if you believe in Jesus, maybe Jesus comes and takes it away. And just dissolving so that it's no longer in the field. We do that with love and love. So imagine anything that you sense. Okay, so once we've got that clear, we're going to bring in some protection. It's not that, I think something's going to hurt us. It's more of like how, like if you were going to go to Africa and, there's a lot of mosquitoes and bugs and stuff, you might want to sleep with one of those mosquito-y net things around. It's not like that, like, oh my God, these things are going to get me. It's more like, well, I don't really want to have to handle it. I don't want to have to deal with that. So I don't want to have to deal with anything coming in while we're trying to have this pure field. Okay? So let's just imagine we can bring in color. I like to bring in gold. Most recently, I like to bring in that color of aqua aura quartz, that beautiful turquoise blue, but bring it in with the quartz energy. Aqua aura quartz. So imagine it just filling up the field. It's very protected. We can ask for bringing some black tourmaline energy, and then whatever else you'd like to do. That's enough, but if you like and have another practice, you're welcome to do that as well. So now we're going to welcome and bring in the kids from the Autism Collective, either the collective energy and or the specific healers that we work with. So the first one coming in is Jordan. And Jordan is saying that she wants you to think of her like a little fairy. She's harmonizing the field of energy. So she's going around, so you can even imagine her just flying around and fixing little things. So let me see, what kind of things would you fix in the field? Miscommunications, things that we hear and interpret through our own lens and body and experiences, which then morph it into being not accurate. Which can happen because we're all seeing things through our own lens and our own sphere of understanding. And I've had people say, Tammy, you said this and that. I remember when you said this. I remember when you said that. And for the life of me, I'm like, I would never use those words. And that is not something that's come out of my mouth. But what they're repeating back to me is their interpretation. Sorry. That's the neighbor dog. They got him going. So their interpretation of what they took me to say, they're repeating back to me. And that was not my intention of what I said. So Jordan is saying that she's going around and trying to like clear the field of preconceived notions, preconceived ideas. So it's like we can clear our minds to be like open to receive what's said in the intention and the meaning that it's meant to be received. Thank you. And if that's something that you don't want her working in your personal field with that, that's no problem. She respects your free will. So if you're like, I don't think I want anything, I'm just here to watch, I don't want to like receive anything or have any healing or whatever, no problem. Just state that intention out loud or in your mind and she'll receive that. So there's no invasive anything here. I'm 100% against that. From my own being having problems with that. She also is talking about filling the field with other light too. We did the protection, but she said filling the field with, it's not a color that we know. It's just more purple-ish but it's not a color that if I told you what the color is that we'd be able to look up and know what the color is. So I've heard many people say that when they've done, even people that have had like out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences, that's what I'm trying to say, that they've said that they've seen colors in that experience that they've never ever seen before. So that's kind of what she's saying, like there's these other colors and every color is also a frequency and actually a spectrum of different frequencies. And so she's bringing in a color that we don't have a word for. And in fact, I don't have a way of imagining the color. She's just asking to trust that this color that's purple-like, but not purple. She's also talking about colors, having other colors. So, like, just like we have, like, I'm a color, I'm a many colors, right? I'm a pinky white color. However, somebody could see me and see my aura, and then that's other colors within this one color. So she's saying that colors are like that too, like purple, pink, all that there's other like essences of color that come from the color. And so there's some of that that comes in as well. What is the power and importance of color? It is a frequency. We are frequency beings. Frequency can be helpful, can be harmful, it could have a purpose, it does something. And so in this particular way, these colors and essence of colors, and like I said, I don't have the language. I'm sure maybe somebody on earth knows the language of what I'm talking about, or maybe they don't. Maybe we don't know until we get into our full spirit bodies after we leave this body. But these particular essences or colors that she's bringing forth are for strength of purpose and letting go. Okay, so thank you for that. And that's all she wanted to do, to say that she's working like the behind the scenes working person. Thank you, Jordan. So if you need strength in your body, she's saying also in your the constitution of your body, so your sort of baseline of how your body operates. She's saying that you can just access that color. And so I feel like since we don't know the name of this secret color, this otherworldly color, we need a word that will represent. She says when you just say, I am strong in all ways, you can also bring forth that vibration, that frequency of that color. I am strong in all ways. And she's reminding me that word strong is a little loaded. Strong, but not aggressive, not invasive, not overpowering. A balance of strength. Strength in your cellular integrity. Strength in your resilience to life's ups and downs and moving around. Strength like strength as you need it, but also being able to bend, and bending being a strength too. Being flexible. Sometimes being flexible is really hard. It's easy to be rigid and stubborn, but to let go of something is also a form of strength. Yeah. She's like, yes. Okay, so do we want to go to Spencer? No, we're not going to go to Spencer yet, although he gave me a list of things. So the next thing we're going to do is go to the collective. So the Autism Collective, this would be then less specific than like one voice coming forth, and more of like this group energy coming forth. And it may come forth as I receive it as like one voice, but it's really this group energy. Okay, so they're saying they want to thank everybody because it's a really amazing time to be alive. I'm not going to give my opinion on that. Let's try to stay out of it, okay? Yes, it is. So much to do, so much work to do, so much emotion, so much mental stuff in the field. There's so many things to do. They're saying they're working overtime. So if you have a child diagnosed with autism, they're not sleeping. They are working overtime right now to try to keep their own body still and peaceful, which is a very hard thing on a regular day. But also to be able to put forth extra energy into the collective consciousness, the big field of all the beings that are on Earth right now. And so they're feeding energy, and they're trying to raise that vibration. They do show me that they show me this black wall in the collective field. And that black wall is the complete rejection that many people have right now. And that rejection of their own truth, their own intuition, their own highest self, their own spirit. So there's how much percentage? 80% still. 80% of the collective is rejecting their own highest truth. I was hoping it'd be way lower than that. Okay, so what they're saying is don't fall for the people. Don't fall for it. Just listen gently here. Don't fall for people that say that they know everything, no matter who they are. Don't fall for any of these like tricky words of like wokeness, awakened, enlightenment. Even enlightenment? Yeah, I knew it. Okay, sorry. Sometimes I get a validation. I never liked that word, enlightenment, but it's used in all kinds of different stuff that I study. So then I kind of started using it. And I feel like the kids are like going, erase, like we did in the field, erase, race, 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 race. Like these teachings that we've been given, like what matter what you've studied, erase a lot. This is what keeps that blackness, that stubborn, I'm not going to go and understand and live to my highest self, because there's a block there. There's a block in your own self. We could call it programming. We could call it purposeful rejection of your own intuitive voice. See how I did that? I spent a couple years since I've had that enlightenment talk with my own self. I mean, I just kind of just accepted it because everybody's saying it. I'm like, well, I must, whatever. No, no, that's not the right word they're saying. What they're saying, the right word would, a more appropriate word would be evolution, evolving, growing, learning, expanding, loving. Those kinds of words. Well, this word enlightenment is like a static state. There's movement that goes to that static state. What they're saying is, unless you are the creator, you're always in a moving state. And we go up and down and up and down and up and down. And the people, the 80% of the collective that's got that blackness right there, that black block of, I can't go past that to see that, they're the ones that are needing the help the most. Okay. So how can we help? It's not through trying to get somebody to listen. We're past listening. It's being a harmonizer. So what brings harmony? Sound? What brings people together? Music? Ideas? Energy? Love? What brings them apart? Well, we know all that stuff. So looking each day at where is the harmony available? How can I contribute to the harmony in the world? And maybe one I just heard a little whisper in my ear, it could just be like singing to the world each day, singing when you wake up in the morning, and not just for your own self, but singing out into the field. Or when even just something is like when you go and maybe you work out or whatever. As I work out, I let these benefits penetrate into the collective field for healthy opportunities for everyone. That's a little bit more like, but it is possible. But singing into the field, sometimes like with my sound healing instruments, I'll play, and I won't play for my own self, even though I will get it because I'm part of the collective. I'll imagine that I'm playing and then I'm like hitting some button, like an upload button to the collective field. So those vibrations are available to them as well. So think about harmony. So when you smell a beautiful flower and you take that energy in that's so harmonizing for your body, imagine the collective smelling that flower with you. And so it takes, it's extra work, extra thoughts of how we have to do it, right? I always say that the people that are more aware are the ones that actually have to do the work. Because the others are just fine living la 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 la. I don't see, I don't hear. They tell me what to do and I do it, and that's because they're comfortable in their comfort zone of like a traumatic protection. And they're comfortable in that because it is too stressful to reach out and to do something more difficult. So those of us that are used to doing, thank you, Cookie. So those of us that are used to doing the shadow work, so digging into our own stuff all the time, because we know better and know what to do, it's kind of our job to do it. And we're not gonna we're not gonna create anybody else's evolution with that, but we can shift energy in a way that makes it easier for them to start. It's like the planting seeds for them to start. Wow, I felt something different, or like, I saw something a different way. I've had people say to me, like, well, you said something to me like 10 years ago, and I thought, this girl's crazy. But then one day something happened, and it went boop, boop, And then everything connected, and then they got what I said, and then they remembered. This is how those of us doing the work, we can help to harmonize the field. The other thing is the idea of goodwill. Just continue to try to do good and see people as good at their core, even when they're being mean. Like somebody was really mean to my husband at Kohl's today. He didn't care. I probably would have cried. He didn't really care. But how can you have goodwill when somebody's mean to you or mean to somebody else? Well, I always have gotten this vision, and the kids are reminding me right now. Remember the Mother Mary? I had this vision one time of the Blessed Mother, and she says, whenever you have a hard time with somebody, and there's kind of a he did that, she did that sort of thing, imagine that you can step into their body. Now, don't do it, but imagine that you can, and you can feel what their heart feels. Now, feel what their heart feels. Now, take that feeling back into your body. Now, what can you shift in how you view them? So, somebody's mean to you, says something rude, calls you selfish. That's what happened to my husband. He's like, you're selfish. It's a great practice to be like, okay, what would cause somebody to lash out that way? Let me feel what they feel. And you don't know what they've been through in life that has caused them to lash out in that way. And we don't have to tap in and invade into their privacy, who they are. But most likely inappropriate behavior stems from fear and pain. And gosh, are we the kind of people to kick somebody when they're in fear and pain? Or can we enter into a state of goodwill to understand? So the kids had me write down, where does it come from? Where do these behaviors come from? And trying to understand. And we can have a loving spirit amongst the chaotic energy that's out there. What is it that you like to do that you can access your loving heart and put that into the world? It's really easy because I have these fluffy poochie woochies around me. There's Ari in his belly, and Lisi's up here, and they give so much love, and we just give love all day long, especially now that I quit my new job. I got lots of time to give lots of love. So love, 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 and they give love back. That's really easy. What's harder is when somebody's mean, and how can I give love out there? So maybe it's difficult to do in the moment when something happens, but later, if you have an altercation out there in the world, you can sit in your car, be like, they must be responding that way because of some pain or wound, fear that they have. Let me send them the loving spirit. Ari, I know you want to bark, so you best think twice, please. Okay, let me see if there's anything else from the collective. Take it easy on yourself. That loving spirit is for you too. That is for you to turn on yourself, to receive from yourself at all times. So your ability to love and take care and just really care and nurture. God, Lisi Lou. No. So sorry. I have a secret weapon. It's called Serenity. Hey, who wants to smell the oil? Lisi. It's got lavender in it, and for some reason, for both of these dogs, it's like kryptonite. They don't want to relax. Okay, you want to smell? Nope, we don't want to smell. Okay. All right. I still have more to do, guys, so I need you to give me a couple more minutes. All right. So, that taking good care of yourself and giving that loving spirit back to yourself is a great, amazing practice for you to do. All right, Spencer. He just had a few things to say about how to move and navigate through the times that we're living right now. The first thing, through the times, how do we navigate through these times with love? He said, sorry, I have hair up my nose. He said the first thing is not to have any expectations. So if you're expecting somebody to like believe you or think about what you have to say or understand you, don't. Don't have any expectations on anybody else. Just what he says is let life flow. We don't know what's going on with other people. We don't really understand a lot of people right now. At least I don't. To me, like, cut it out. Some things are so obvious, and I'm like, okay, even without your spiritual gifts connected, how are you not seeing this? And so, I have my struggles with that. Ari, cut it out, buddy. And so what he's saying is don't have any expectations that anybody is going to hear or understand you at all. Hey, cut it out. Yeah, that was kind of mean. I did splash him with water. He's a very stubborn, barky dog. And a good boy. Yeah, you are a good boy. All right. So if we can remove any need for anybody to believe or do or think any certain way, we can enter into a state of loving flow in our own lives much better. So he says, no expectations, let life flow. Let it flow. I don't know what today is going to bring. I don't know what today is going to bring. I don't know what people are thinking. I don't need to understand it because I know who I am. The next thing he says is don't have any regrets. There may be decisions that you've made that you regret, that you're like, I shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. He said that there's no need for that. There's no need to regret. There's certainly you can offer, if there's something you did and you harmed somebody else, certainly there's things to do like offer your apology, forgive yourself, things like that. But walking around with like regrets in your life, I should have done this, I should have done that, that means that you're saying that you've made, that where you are in your place right now in life is wrong. And what he's saying is no, because it's not wrong. You're exactly where you're supposed to be and doing what you're supposed to do. Yes, it may be this windy road to be where you are now, and it may not have been pretty. It may have been really rough. There was something, a gift in all the twists and turns of that. Even the things that maybe you might regret. And he's saying you can gain all of the wisdom that you need from those twists and turns without any self-injurious behavior. So moms that have kids diagnosed with autism, if you have a child that does things and they hurt themselves and they do self-injurious behavior, sometimes, not all the time, they are mirroring to you your own self-injurious behavior. Hold on. Let me see if I can mute for a minute and get ready. Jenna to the rescue. She's going to feed the doggies. Thank you for being patient and waiting with that. And now there's barks and growls and all kinds of things as they go battle to see who gets to eat first. So these twists and turns of life, right? What he's saying is through all of these like corners and turns and everything, without a regret was something to learn. Even if you made a different decision that would have been easier and been a more simple, direct road, there would have been something to learn on that too. Even if this rocky road over here, there was hurts and pains and wounds for yourself and for others, it still landed you exactly where you're supposed to be. I can't say that we like always understand why. Most of the time we don't know why. But he's saying just don't have any of those regrets. Oh, the self-injurious behavior. So the kids are oftentimes, they can mirror your own mental self-injurious behavior back to you by them showing you your mental pattern through their actions. So what that looks like is you're sitting, and this is me doing algebra 2 at my computer, and I'm doing it, and then the problem's wrong, and I'm like in my head, okay, this is not very loving, but this self-injurious behavior isn't right. So in my head it goes like this: God damn it, what does she want from me? I don't even understand this. I suck at this so bad. Why? Who did I even think that I could go back to college? This is the most ridiculous thing ever. Okay, that's a mental self-injurious behavior. You heard all the things I've told myself. These are things I have told myself out loud and silently, because it's a very difficult subject for me. So if you have a child diagnosed with autism that is very, very sensitive, they hear that, they see your self-injurious mental pattern, and then they may start doing stuff. It's not always about their own physical body. It can also be about what they hear and sense from you. And so I just want you to be aware of that. Yes. And then the last thing that he says, not the last thing, almost the last thing, is in life. So this is about moving through these times that we live in with love. Let surprises come. Don't try to plan it all. Don't try to fit things in a box that everything has to look this certain way for you to be happy. Leave a whole bunch of stuff open. In fact, you can leave everything open. Since I'm open to surprises coming. Something even better than I can imagine. I'm open for that. So what he's saying is the best thing we can do is not have any control. And that's the funniest thing, because we're trying so hard to control stuff that we don't even have any control over anything. And so the only thing that we can control is our response. And that's where we come back with goodwill, loving spirit, I am strong in all ways, all of these beautiful things, learning where it comes from people, where that energy comes from that causes them to lash out in a negative way, and understanding that and giving them some grace and love too, while keeping our boundaries intact. And so our only control is how we respond. And even if we respond what might be like poorly, so that was a little bit ugly, right? Like I got mad or I lost my temper. He's like, you know what? That's fine too. Because what happens? Somebody needed to learn something. Either you did or the person that it came to had to learn something. That doesn't mean we go willy-nilly because, well, they must have to learn something, so I'm going to be a mean person. No, but when you're working really hard to try to be mindful, to be a conscious person out there in the world, and anger does show up, it is an emotion that needs to flow. And so honoring those emotions, that they have purpose too. You know, there's this scale of the vibrations or frequencies of different emotions. You've probably seen it. You know, like shame is the worst. There's anger, hate, greed, jealousy, blah, 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 and then it goes up to all these higher is love, 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 love. Okay, but we as human beings are a spectrum, and we run through a spectrum of all of those things. So if we end up in one of these that is labeled this lower frequency, does that make you a bad person, or does that mean that you're just experiencing that frequency and that emotion at this time? This is what I'm feeling. And so what do we do when we feel? We breathe, we name it. I am feeling shame because do and do and do and do. I'm feeling it. Let me breathe. And then as you breathe, you can release through and move to a different emotion, a different state of being. Spencer, is there anything else you wanted to say about that? No, Jordan, no, Collective, no. All right. I think my dogs have had enough of me not giving them any attention. So I want to thank you guys for listening. I hope there's some little nuggets in there that might be helpful. I do want to add that since Jordan talked to us 2 weeks ago about sleep cycles, I have been seeing everywhere different people talking about sleep cycles, about going to sleep in this world and waking up in another one. That message has come back to me probably 5 or 6 different ways over the last 2 weeks. I can't even believe it. I'm like, oh, and there it is, and there it is. And it just keeps getting that message anchored in. So some of these messages that come through, maybe they don't resonate now, but kind of file them away and kind of integrate them in. And then they may, when you need that bit of teaching and wisdom, it may pop up for you and be more meaningful. All right. So if you want to work with any of these beautiful master healers, you can go to AutismCollective.Love and you can schedule an appointment, and we do just a beautiful session with sound healing and breath work and your special channeled healing session with one of these masters. I'll be happy to help facilitate that. All right. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And the love and light and divine in me sees and honors the love and light and divine in you. Namaste. All right. Much love. Bye-bye.